Good morning. Hi, I'm Pam Fox. Sorry, I just have to make sure it's running. I don't want to shoot this video and find out it's not on. I've done that before. Thanks for watching my channel. This morning I want to share, I'm drinking a decaffeinated coffee beverage, and it's shout out to my friend Charity for turning me on to this. It's a Swiss water processed decaf coffee, and I'm really enjoying it. But I don't want to talk about coffee today. If you'd like me to do a video on the differences between regular coffee, decaf coffee, and the different processes on how they decaffeinate coffee and what I put in my coffee, let me know in the comments below and I'll do that. But today, I want to talk really quickly about eating at Subway or Papa Murphy's Pizza. I've been a fan of both of these restaurants for many years. In fact, I still am. They're really kind of my go-to for fast foods. If I need something in a pinch and I'm hungry, I need to eat fast. I can get something there I feel pretty good about. But most people, when they eat at these fast food restaurants, they're going to order, most people are going to put, get a sandwich or a pizza with a lot of meat and a lot of cheese, and so then they're not eating, nutritious, healthy food in that case. And most of you know that, but I just want to break it down a little bit as best I can and describe, the dangers of eating these foods. So let's start with Papa Murphy's. So when most people go and order a pizza, they're going to get a pizza with cheese, obviously, and, pepperoni and salami and ham, beef, bacon. These are all processed meats. And most of you have heard that the World Health Organization made their official statement sometime last year that processed meats are a tier 1 carcinogen, cancer-causing carcinogen. Right up at the very top. So right up there with smoking cigarettes, right up there with asbestos and some other things. They are a tier 1 carcinogen. And so when this came out in the news, I was a vegan at that time, and I was kind of excited. It's like, people are going to find out, they're going to know, this is so great. And instead what happened was, I don't know, people just didn't really care. There were a lot of comments that followed in the news, well, everything in moderation, this kind of mentality, or just kind of this debunking kind of ness that confuses people. You know what I mean? So the World Health Organization comes out with their statement, and then somebody else comes out with their statement, and then people just get confused and say, well, where's the truth? I really don't know what to do, and so I'll just eat whatever. I'll just continue to eat whatever I want. I'll eat what I enjoy. And so then people don't make changes in their diet and they don't improve their health. So why are processed meats so bad for us? Well, one of the reasons is they put what's known as nitrites, into processed meats. And they do this because of all the bacteria in the meat that is bad for us, that can kill us. We know that. It slows the growth of that bacteria. That's what the nitrate does. But unfortunately, the nitrites kill us as well. They're one of the reasons that can cause us to have cancer. So these processed foods are loaded with the nitrates, and that's just one of the reasons that they're bad for us, but it's one of the big ones. So it's something to keep in mind when you're eating these processed meats. There's probably a healthier alternative for you out there than processed meats. And what is a processed meat? I mean, it's not just pepperoni, you guys. It's, any of your deli meats, your processed, chickens, those chicken nuggets that you get, at the in the store or at the restaurant. Hot dogs, of course, but ham, salamis, these processed meats. So that's one thing to be concerned about. So then you think, well, what about chicken? Or what about beef? Well, beef was deemed by the World Health Organization as a tier 2 carcinogen. So it's right up there. And there's a lot of evidence that tells us there's a connection between meat in general, really, but especially beef and chicken. Correlation between chicken and beef and cancer. So And the other thing about chicken is, and a lot of people don't realize this. I was just talking to my dad about this the other day, and I don't think he bought what I was trying to sell him, but chicken is very commonly pumped full of salt. It's very commonly bathed in salt baths before we buy it to plump it up and to give it additional flavor, a lot of additional salt. So the raw chicken that you're buying is not necessarily low in salt unless you're, seeking, non-salted chicken, in organic stores. That's very expensive. If you're paying your standard rates for chicken, it is most likely very, very salty. And so what's the big deal about salt? Well, most of us know, there's correlation between salt and hypertension, which can cause heart disease, which can kill you. Salt, also a diet high in salt, there's correlation between that and stomach cancer. There's correlation between a diet high in salt in the bacteria, the H. pylori bacterium, which is known to be what is the cause of stomach ulcers. So if you have stomach ulcers, you most likely have the I always want to call it the helicopter bacterium that causes stomach ulcers. And if you have stomach ulcers, again, you're at higher risk for stomach cancer. So these things are a big deal. And so many people just want to live in denial and deny the fact that these things are a big deal. If your health is a priority, and I think most of us would say, if we stopped and we were really honest with ourselves, that we want to have good health, that it's a priority to have good health, that it's a priority that our families have good health. So yeah, and and then the cheese, I could do a whole video about the cheese. Cheese is super high in salt, guys. Super high in salt. Very, very high in salt. Not to mention that, it's just not good for us. And I could, again, I'm not going to get into that, but I want to talk about Subway. Specifically, again, if you're ordering this sandwich with a ton of, processed meats and cheese is on there, you're getting a lot of nitrates, you're getting a lot of salt. And I looked up the, one of the kind of healthier considered sandwiches of Subway would be the rotisserie chicken. So if you go onto Subway, it's nice because they do have all of the ingredients and nutrient breakdown on there, which is wonderful. I wish more people would do that, and a lot of people are starting to. But a 6-inch rotisserie chicken sandwich, so they do the breakdown for the 6-inch sandwich on a 9-grain bread, has 350 calories, so that sounds pretty good right off the bat as far as calories go. 6 grams of fat, not too bad. 660 milligrams of salt, which is pretty high. And so if we break that down, first of all, bread is pretty high in salt. So 270 milligrams of that is from the bread, which means 390 milligrams of that are from the salt. And keep in mind that when they do these nutrient breakdowns, it's just the meat, the vegetables, and the bread. No sauce, no cheese. So these do not include sauce and cheese, which add a lot more salt. So 390 milligrams in the rotisserie chicken sandwich just from salt, which to some people that might sound kind of low. To me, it's really high. Now, if you were to look at one of their higher sodium sandwiches, which would be the BLT or the BMT, their Italian sandwich with all those processed meats, you're looking at about 1,200 calories or 1,200 milligrams of salt. Again, 6-inch, 9-grain, no sauce, no cheese, 1,200 milligrams of sodium. But yeah, so why 390 milligrams of salt in a 6-inch chicken sub with no cheese and no sauce. So that gives you an idea of how much salt is in this chicken, because it's not coming from the bread. I already subtracted that. It's not coming from the vegetables. There's no cheese and no sauce. So 390 milligrams of sodium from chicken. So again, it's got the chicken, the chicken is plumped up with salt before you even buy it. My coffee's cold, so I spilled it all over my shirt. So what else? So yeah, so that's about it, guys. Just keep in mind when you're ordering at these restaurants, there are healthier options. I talked in my last video about the healthier option at Papa Murphy's, but at Subway, you know, you can get a veggie sandwich at Subway, and to some people that might sound really boring. For me, even before I went vegan, the veggie sandwich was one of my favorite sandwiches at Subway. Of course, I got cheese on it. I used to. Now when I get the veggie sandwich at Subway, it's really not one of my favorite things. It's not that good. Now, recently they started serving or offering avocado, and it had a little bit of garlic in there and quite a bit of flavor, and they've just recently taken that away because they couldn't, you know, it's expensive and it expires quickly and they just couldn't do it. That's unfortunate because that added a lot of flavor. But for me, my choice is, you know, I get my favorite vegetables on there. The olives add a lot of flavor. The pepperoncinos or banana peppers add a lot of flavor. Get some vinegar on there. That adds a lot of flavor. If you like jalapenos and onions, add those. That adds a lot of flavor. You can get a little salt and pepper on there. Make sure you get the 9-grain bread. I looked, and the out of all of the breads, I would say, actually, some Subways offer a rye bread or a sourdough bread, and those, you know, when you look at the ingredients list, those have the fewest ingredients and are the healthiest in my opinion. My Subway doesn't even offer those, so the 9-grain bread is the next best choice. The rest of them, a lot of them contain milk or eggs or just a lot of strange ingredients. So if you want to go with the most minimal ingredients, go with the 9-grain bread. Load it up with your favorite vegetables. If you have to get cheese on there, if you're new to plant-based eating, you have to get your cheese on there in order to have some flavor. Go ahead and do that. But, you know, like I said, if you really like onions, that's going to add a lot of flavor. If you like jalapenos, make sure you have them put on a little extra of those foods that you really like, and that's going to add a lot of enjoyment and flavor to that sub. Or, you know, if you're bringing it home, this is what I do. Bring it home and add some of your favorite, like I will add avocado to a Subway sandwich, or even add, like, for example, their olives, I don't think they taste very good. Their particular olives that they use are a little bland to me. I don't think they're the best olives. So I'll come home and put my olives on there, and it just tastes a whole lot better. Get your sub grilled. I think it tastes so much better when you get your toast grilled. You know, they offer if you grilled or not. A little bit of vinegar is good if you like vinegar. So those are just my suggestions how to eat healthy at Subway. But yeah, I think that's it. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. All right. Hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.